Good afternoon, Professor Costa, fellow classmates. My name is Singh. Today, my persuasive speech will be about something that's in all our minds right now. Everywhere you look, all the news media, everyone's talking about it. Something very important that affects all of us in this country, everyone hearing my voice. And yes, Y-O-U, you. It affects you as well. And that, of course, is the health care bill that's being discussed right now, the GOP bill that's being worked out in the House of Representatives and right now in the Senate. It's a very important topic. It's very serious and it has a lot of ramifications. President Trump on his campaign came into probably a big factor in becoming president was that he campaigned on the fact of repeal and replace Obamacare. Granted, Obamacare did get people on to healthcare who didn't have healthcare before. The problem with it was, though, that the premiums were very high and it started to skyrocket later on. So people were very unhappy with it overall and they demanded change. So he kind of rode on that platform of repeal and replace Obamacare into the presidency. When he got here, though, it was a little bit different on the campaign trail. What he said, and I quote, was that healthcare is very complicated. It's way more complicated than I thought. And that's very true. It's a lot of factors going into it. My attitude is, what's the best solution? It doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. If Obama wrote it or President Trump wrote it, I think we all can agree that we just want results. We want it to work. How's it best to work? And that's my persuasion towards you. Is it better just to replace what's existing already with another bill that could also be very detrimental? I think if you look at all the numbers that came out right now, if you look at the CBO report, the Congressional Budget Committee, their nonpartisan review site based on the numbers, and all the reports that you're hearing out there, you see that it's stating that a large amount of Americans with the new GOP bill would not be getting coverage by 2026. I read a variety of articles. The Washington Post, the article's called GOP Healthcare Bill Would Leave 22 Million More People Uninsured by 2026 by Amy Goldstein and Kesley Sneal. Other articles stating the same numbers was a New Yorker by Atul Gawande, Trump Care versus Obamacare, USA Today by Keith Spites, 10 Things Trump Care Changes in Healthcare. And lastly, the LA Times article by Naomi Levy and Kyle Kim, which actually shows a slide-by-slide comparison. And that's what I chose to use today on my slide presentation, because it actually puts them against each other and shows the pros and the cons of both. Right here, you can see that the GOP bill, which is called the American Health Care Act, is showing right here by the years 2026, you have about 18% of Americans will not have health care. That's roughly the 22 million that Congressional Budget Committee has stated that won't have health care in the future. So that's a large number. Right now, with Obamacare, at that same particular time, you're looking at about 10 million. So it's another 8%, so it's almost double that would not have health care. Bernie Sanders recently said that when you take millions of people off health care, you're literally putting thousands of people to death. Now, it sounds a little exaggerated, it sounds a little sensationalized, the Republicans that stated that, but in reality, if you do the numbers, when you have millions of people who have sicknesses, whether it be diabetes or cancer, not necessarily major diseases, but you take them off their minor medications, you're going to increase the chances of them getting sick and other things probably leading to death, like diabetes might lead to stroke, things like that. So in reality, when you have 1 million people, you do the numbers, it's very possible that you'll have a couple of thousand people more dying than would normally die. So it's not an exaggeration. It's based on the numbers is the truth. Also, in Medicaid, the American Health Care Act with the GOP, they were reducing the amount of money that goes into Medicaid. As you can see, this map shows the large number of states now who have asked to improve or add more to Medicaid. All the colors here in the purple are the states that are adding more to the Medicaid, have requested more aid in the Medicaid. In the GOP plan, what's going on there is that they will not increase the Medicaid federal funding per person. It'd be the same amount for each state. So in an area, for example, like New York or Pennsylvania or New Jersey, where we live, where more people are in the area, we get the same funding as a state down here that looks larger on the map, but in reality has less people. That's a very serious problem. And this is how they plan to pay for it, by phasing out the amount of money that they put into the Medicaid bill. Over here, you're starting at 150, and it goes down and down. This is in the billions, by the way. And it goes down, and they're taking out. As the population gets older and needs more medical help as they get older, they get mature in your retirement years, they're actually looking at taking out of money because it won't be able to sustain itself. They don't have the funds to do it, so what are they going to do? Ironically, one of the things that is unusual is that if you look here, if you make $100,000, you're in gray. You have no change in the amount of money that you're paying into the bill. So the reality is you are richer, you're paying less money. So a lot of ways it's a tax break for the wealthier people because they want to be paying more money. The money's got to come from somewhere. It's a lot. Where are you going to come from? If you're making a little bit more, is it better for you to pay? Perhaps. If you're the only person paying, I can understand why you're resentful, but it's got to come from somewhere. And it has to be give and go if we want to get better as a society. Over here, it's talking about the credits. Now in Obamacare, what happened is a lot of people didn't like the fact that they're being forced to have health insurance. If you couldn't afford it, you were still getting penalized in your taxes. That is a problem, I think, with Obamacare, because I think that was a large sticking point for a lot of people, and it turned off a lot of people who were voters that didn't appreciate that, from poorer incomes, that they're forced to buy this health care that was more expensive. So I think there's improvements that could be made in Obamacare, and this is one of the areas I think they could really work on. But even with the new plan, they don't necessarily force you, but later on, if you want to get insurance later on, if you haven't taken it, they will increase your first premium by 30%. So later on, you still pay a penalty either way. On Obamacare, Americans were able to get health insurance even if they're sick. In the new plan, they didn't say to eliminate it, but they're giving the option to states that perhaps they might eliminate it or make it more difficult, or maybe a separate pool as well. So it actually make those premiums very expensive for people who do have pre-existing conditions. Women's health, Planned Parenthood, I think is one of the biggest topics there is. Both of them do not give any money towards abortions. But in the new plan, if you're a facility that does abortions, even if you're not doing an abortion, they want to take away your funding. So for example, like pelvic screening for cancer for women, contraceptives, all these things, all the women that needs, all that's going to be taken away just for the fact because they also may perhaps do abortions. So it's really attacking on women as themselves, because you're not allowing women to have the necessity to get health care properly, to prevent in low-income areas to get help. My suggestion to you as a person is to look at it objectively, not to look at it as a Republican or as a Democrat. The facts are, it doesn't matter who you are. We all want the same results. We want something to work. And I implore you to reach out to your representative, doesn't matter who it is, and say, get the job done. My attitude is, I understand that Obamacare had problems, but the infrastructure is already there. It's already in place. It took a lot of work to get to that point. It took them a lot of effort, a lot of collaboration. It's already there. Isn't it a little bit easier just to go in there, take out things that you don't like? For example, like the fact that you have to have it, you get taxed on it. Let's take that out. Let's work these things out. That's what they're there for, to work together. And the same way those naval officers and worked with the seamen, the sailors, they all got together. That could have been a much larger disaster, the water pouring into the ship. But they got in there and they fixed it. They lost 6 soldiers, but they saved the ship. They saved a lot more lives. And that's why we voted these politicians to do, is to work together, not be Republican, not Democrat. It doesn't matter if it's Obamacare or Trump care. I don't care if it's the Affordable Care Act or the American Care Act. Make it the American Affordable Care Act. Call it Trump Care, Obamacare. Call it Trump Obamacare or Obama Trump Care. Whatever. Just get it done, get the results, help the American people because we need it. And I think you agree with me. So reach out right now, get on the phone, make an email, and make a statement and make a difference. Thank you for your time.